Welcome, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising to the month of November 2022, where you're going to find health improvements and relationship improvements are really the main stories for you guys. And it's really kind of a lovely month in a lot of ways. You're not getting too knocked about by the sky. And so let's get going. If you're new to my channel, I am Lori Lothian, a Hellenistic whole sign house astrologer. I am using ancient tools such as predictive time lords and a bunch of cool stuff. If you're into that, looking at how the sky can tell you about the navigational train ahead, you're going to love my channel. I like the idea of predictive versus psychological astrology, certainly not spiritual ascension stuff, full of rainbows and unicorns. I'm trying to give you the scoop you need to know to navigate your life. Where am I? I always want to share. I'm visiting my sister in the little town that I grew up in. I'm trying to figure out what that thing is. Oh, it's just the bed. And this happens to be my sister Nancy's healing studio, the healing tables over here, healingwithnancylynn.com. Please check her out. Gratitude 20. She's healed me literally of sciatic nerve pain. She's helped heal me of something that should have taken antibiotics to recover from, and I didn't even use them. She's masterful. And if you want to get in on a distance reading, I work by her. I don't live in this small town. Most of my healings with her are by a distance. She used to be a nurse in the hospital for 30 years. She knows what she's doing. Check her out. You'll love it. It's really amazing what she can create in terms of wellness. Now, let's keep going and talk about your sky story. And if you're new to also, please don't forget, you can like and subscribe. That's all wonderful. But check my description box, because if you join my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, it's a weekly forecast written by me for you. It's really nothing else. No one else gets this content, but you're on my reading. You get a draw for free reading every month. 3 people win in the draw because you're part of my newsletter. And you get 30% code off for any reading with me, just for example. And if you join my Patreon community, by the way, for $5 a month, you get all these videos ad-free, well ahead of the public. All right. So public gets, my Patreon gets it well before you see it on YouTube, and they get ad-free views of everything I produce on YouTube. Now let's get going. What do I love about this? You've been struggling with your health or your work. Either the work you do in the world feels difficult, dutiful, drudgery, and hard, and it has for almost 2.5 years, and you're ready to give it up. You don't want to work this hard, and you may have also been struggling on and off with different health challenges that you're kind of surprised by, because Saturn, the Lord of Time and Karma, is grinding through your 6th house of work and health challenges. And by the way, Saturn is a karmic element. The 6th house could be karmatic illness. So don't blame yourself. It's just a thing, So you could find now that the turning point has begun to emerge as of October 23rd, but you're really feeling that new momentum as Saturn picks up speed in direct motion through your 6th house and gets clear of an ongoing, gnarly, super bad square energy with Uranus, bringing these crazy, unpredictable work and health challenges for you. And like some of this has been going on all through 21 into 22, and you're ready to just let it go. And this is a time to just let it go. So November, things start to lighten up on the health front. Solutions are found, resolution is happening. You're feeling better about yourself. You're feeling better about the work environment, or you're going to make an exit strategy maybe next March or so, because you can see a finish line here in some way. Now, it's just where you grind. 6th house is like the hard work we do, where sometimes we feel like our day job is drudgery, or we're in a sense of servitude to reality. So that's getting ready to lighten up for you. And November is where you feel that overall tonal quality of Saturn moving direct. Second of all, Jupiter, the Lord of luck, opportunity, growth, expansion, fairy godfather, super benefic dude. Especially if you're born in the day, he's your benefic insect. He is moving backwards in the moonwalk like Michael Jackson into your 7th house of marriage, business partners, audience, marketplace. Now, clients, if you are in an existing relationship and Jupiter backpedals here, you're going back to deepen, fortify, and restructure and strengthen a relationship for some reason. And it's interesting because if you're single, of course, this could be the invitation to a new relationship with Jupiter's blessings. And any relationship that starts here is good for a minimum of 12 years, a Jupiter cycle. So what I say is this: go into your story and look, if you're with somebody, go back in your imagination to March. I think it was March. I don't know, March to July of 2021. 21, when Jupiter was in the early degrees of Pisces, and then go back in your seventh house of marriage and business connections and relationships and marketplace and audience and clients, and then go back again to think about what was happening in that part of your life that dovetails with the end of December of 2021 through to May 10th of 22. Like a lot of people I know who are Virgos up-leveled their relationships that they were already in, where they moved in or they got engaged or they decided to make decisions like purchase a property together, or, you know, the relationship got more profound, it got deeper in some way, or more expansive in some way. This can apply to business partners. It can also apply to your relationship with your audience or your marketplace if that's relevant to you. And this is a last pass for 12 years where Jupiter now retrogrades only 2 degrees into your seventh house in the whole sign house system and opens up a door of luck and opportunity, graciousness and grace, expansion and growth in your marriage and business and marketplace house. Now, certainly it could be like a Hail Mary pass on a struggling relationship. This would be more germane if your ascendant, okay, or rising sign sun is between 25 degrees and 29. Now, Jupiter over the descendant amplifies the love story or the connection. However, cautionary note, which people don't like to talk about. People often die during it. You're not going to die, but I'm trying to say that Jupiter can bring endings, blessed endings to difficult circumstances. And this is one of them, the marriage part. If you're in a gnarly relationship and you can't get this thing to work, Jupiter can also help you have a graceful exit strategy, or your partner a graceful exit strategy. Same with business partners. So there's a real critical turning point in relationships. I might call this video critical relationship turning points or something happening for you. Did I say when? October 28th is when Jupiter enters into Pisces to December 20th. So all of November, but it is on the 23rd of November that he goes into direct motion. And that's where this real momentum around turning point decisions and choices or developments with your main partner, business or love, is likely to occur the last 7 days of the month. Now I'm going to add another story to that. Okay. So I'm not going chronological. I'm weaving sky stories, right? Track here with me if you can. Jupiter is the lord of the lunation, which is a new moon in Sagittarius. So he's got power over it, connection to it in the house of property, real estate, and home. For some of you, this can be a decision to move in with your partner, to move out with your partner, to sell a new property, to buy a new property with your partner, or business or love partners. And this is a moon that's happening in Sagittarius at 0 degrees, 2 degrees of Sag. No, 0 in the early degrees of Sag. My brain is offline. I'll do a whole video on that, with a broad conjunction to Venus and Mercury at the time. Venus is love and money and goodness, and Mercury is contracts, agreements, negotiations. Some of this can tie to renting a new property because Saturn is receiving this moon from the house of tenancy. Some of this can look like getting a pet, but a new pet, but it's definitely some momentum here around those themes with somebody you're with. So it could, at the very least, it could be a choice to get an animal and share an animal. And the second part of that story could definitely be a choice to move in, to buy property, sell property, get a new lease together, or if you're moving apart, there's de-nesting and releasing for each of you, something like that. This new moon in your 4th house, though, for you Virgo risings in Sagittarius, is nothing but juicy good news for you. So this is a Jupiter direct in the 7th house of legal contracts and agreements, 4th house leases, land, property, buying and selling. And it all kind of moves forward on November the 23rd in a positive way. That new moon, November 23rd, add 2 weeks, you'll see the most fruit from it, but it also fruits fully 6 months later, bringing you a lot of good luck in deals, negotiations, property, contracts, partnership, love, business partnership, things like that. So it's such a good sky story. I had to start with the good news, really. Who would start with the bad news, really? I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm just a realist. People say that I'm too down on some of my videos, like my Scorpio. Oh my God, my Scorpio eclipse video from October 25th. But I mean, you got to be realistic here. It's like corrupted Venus in that eclipse cycle. Okay, moving forward. As a Virgo, Mercury is your Lord, just like the Gemini people. And therefore, he's the most important planet for you. And he's going to do a really cool shit with Venus. And I am apologizing. I have no idea why that sound is coming in. I'm going to pause my recording and I'm going to locate my phone. Maybe that's the problem. Hey, Virgo, the devil is in the details, right? I forgot to turn my, I hope that works, my airplane mode on my phone and it comes to my laptop. So keep going with the story. Where was I? I'm losing my thread for you. I do apologize. Yeah, Venus. So Mercury is the Lord of your story, and he's holding hands with Venus a lot this month, really close to her. And the first part of the month until it's 16th, 17th, they're holding hands in Scorpio, your third house of siblings, trips and travel, and uncles, cousins, learning environments, childhood friends. You may have been having difficulty with a childhood friend, especially elementary school level or high school, or challenges with a sibling, or feeling gnarly about trips and travel, and you maybe want to get away and you can't. It's just like a clunky part of your sky. Eclipses are happening here. You're feeling distant and estranged from a sibling, feeling unconnected to some of your childhood friends or early life friends, all of that. And then all of a sudden they move together, holding hands into that fourth house where that new moon is happening. This is going to be a big shift as they both hold hands, jump the border into Sagittarius together, both of them moving pretty well within a day of each other. I believe Mercury on the 17th and Venus on the 16th into your fourth house. Now, this is where you have fun at home, joy, play, pleasure, but also you may travel from home. Mercury can be a travel god in this part of your sky. And one of the things I really like with these two is they jump the fence. And then on the 19th to the 23rd, the Lord of your sky in Sag is holding hands exactly with Mercury in a sustained conjunction. Now, this can be about contracts and agreements, negotiations around property and real estate with a female friend, Venus, or with a love partner, Venus. But, and there's a big but here, Mercury is in debility in Sag. This is where you must pay attention to the details. You will be unable to look at the fine print and make sure that what you're documenting in a tenancy, a legal agreement around buying, selling real estate, sharing real estate, whatever's going on here, you need to look at the fine print, and you can't do it in Sag. You're all hope and optimism without looking at the details, but it's still, Venus is giving you benefic good points and the new moon is here. So I think it's all going to work out, but your warning signal from the sky is get a good set of legal eagle eyes on the lease or whatever, the sale, the property, the agreement terms, etc. And the other thing I want to point out is that you're going to find that Venus herself is, well, let me go back to one more thing. I didn't start with this. It's not the most important maybe, but Mars is moving through your 10th house, and he's been there since August 20th and doesn't leave till the third week of March next year. Very once in a lifetime, 7-month transit in the bounds of Gemini. And that's because of the retrograde that started October 30th. So all through the month of November, Mars is retrograde in your career house. You want to backpedal. You want to slow down. You want to look at your deeper motivations. Is your career, because you're a student, then are you sure you want to be a student? You're a housemaker? Is that the thing for you? Career doesn't have to look like your 9 to 5, corporate ladder. But whatever Mars is doing is a big, deep renegotiation, investigation, pondering about what motivates you in life regarding your 10th house career. Some of you could go back during the month of November to an old position of employment, another job, or a job that you've had in the past, or move away from a job that you have, because Saturn in your 6th house will trine this Mars, a transit as Saturn goes direct, suggesting a solid new developments in work and career that are more aligned with you and work better for your health and your well-being. And so some of that shifting in November for a lot of you. Thank you to Mars. And of course, Mars will go direct January 12th. And then there's real kickoff momentum in the career zone of your chart. And that's all good and dandy, right? And I mentioned the Jupiter retrograde. Yep. And then I'm going to move into some details of things. The eclipse. November the 15th is happening in Taurus, and it's going to be in your 9th house of academics, campuses and colleges, foreign lands and travel, visas, court cases, father figures. Now, father in Vedic astrology, 9th house, and also third marriage. And one of the Vedic tools I use, there's another one, but the one I use is the one I like. Don't correct me. This one is 2nd house is second marriage, and 3rd house is 9th in the tool I use. Now, if you have a father figure who's elderly and there's a big eclipse in the 9th house, certainly this could mean some shifting of that relationship because they're ill or passing away or something. Not necessarily, but with Jupiter in the first 5.5 months of 2022 in your inheritance house, I wouldn't rule it out. Right, grandfather, father figure, but usually father figure. So this eclipse is at 16 degrees, basically rounded up, of Taurus. If you have a Virgo sun, moon, and rising anywhere between 13 and 20 degrees of Virgo, it's going to have a lot more impact on you. But all Virgos still feel it. The eclipse is definitely impacting you, but it's flowing. It's an earth trine. So whatever's going on in the academic house, whatever's going on in the trips, travel, and visas house, or the house of father, is actually good for you. And there's a shock and awe vibe because the eclipse is conjunct 180-degree head spinning, radical, unexpected developments, Uranus. So you can't really predict this. I might be going on about trips and travel or father figures, and boom, it's like there's a court award in your favor in a class action lawsuit you didn't even know you were part of, and you win some money. I'm just making it up, but you may not be able to suss it out yet. And on that eclipse on the November, did I say the date? Oh my God, my brain, November 8th, you could feel it a couple of weeks before and 2 weeks after. But the thing is, it really unfolds fully in the 6 months that follow. So don't go, oh, nothing happened on the eclipse day. It's a longer narrative. It's a thematic shift that's happening in that ninth house over 3 Scorpio eclipses, one in May of 2022, one in November of 22, and one in May of 23. So it's a longer story, right? It's a North Node story, expansion, growth. It flows to you as an earthy Virgo. It's good for you in some way, but change we always resist, right? No one wants change. Although you're mutable, you're not so bad with it. But for the most part, change is often avoided and not wanted. And yet here it comes. Now, during the eclipse, Mercury is on the sun on the other side in a cazimi on the 7th and 8th, a great time for interesting downloads and insights and news and happy news regarding local neighborhood environment, childhood friends and siblings, especially if that is a female friend because Venus is there. And it could be really exciting developments that lead to the things that I see later, which looks like a rehoming, new homing, up leveling of your home, or more play and fun and pleasure in your home, whatever that is from that new moon in Sag on the 23rd. Let's talk a little bit about the micronutia of a few interesting transits during the month. Okay, I want to warn you a bit, but not really, but just let you have a heads up. You know how you're driving along and you've got a foggy windshield and you can't see? You use your defogger, right? The thing that defogs the windshield. That's what happens when Mars is squaring Neptune. It's one of 3 passes because of retrograde. I'll do a whole video, so subscribe and hit your bell for notifications going into those 3 passes that take 7 months to happen. But the middle pass, a retrograde Mars and a retrograde Neptune, is November 16th to the 22nd. And this is a defogging of an illusion delusion in your life. Now, come on, Neptune is in your house of marriage, has been since 2011. Same with business partnerships. A lot of Virgos see everything with rose-colored glasses. My perfect mate, my perfect, could also bring mates with addictions, by the way, or who are deluding you. But in any ways, or mental health challenges. But Neptune through this part of your sky, my daughter's a Virgo rising, had a total narcissist, mental health challenge. I had, these things are true. So now, though, this is a defogging about how clearly you can see your marriage and love and business partnerships. I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. You're like, oh my God, I'm seeing more clearly, but you're seeing from the 10th house of purpose and career. Mars up here, though, if I want to be obviously telling you, Mars up here is connecting to Chiron in your 8th house of secrets. And there's a lot of potential that some of you have a secret back end attraction, love affair, flirtation, or something with a male or lover energy in the career space. And this could be the dispelling and the breaking of that illusion that this is anything that you want, or one way or the other, things are shifting. That's November 16th to the 22nd. Venus trining Jupiter is a twice every year story. This is a trine of Venus and Scorpio on November 14th and 15th, with the sun also beside her, trining Neptune. So let's go Venus trine Jupiter first, right? It's on the 14th and 15th. She's a goddess of love, money, and all good things, beauty and art, enjoyment of life, joy of life, in the house of friends from childhood or younger age, under high school, travel and trips, siblings, journeying to and fro, learning, especially skills-based learning, how to knit or something. And she is trining Jupiter in your marriage house. Well, it could be a trip with your beloved that you're able to concoct around the 14th and 15th of November. And that really excites you, okay? And it really has a really beautiful romantic vibe and a really kind of big lush up here in terms of the feels, feeling really good with the one you're with, or having more fun around the 14th and 15th in your local neighborhood pubs and restaurants with the one you're with, and maybe some friends as well and allies. And then that sun is trining Neptune. And that's happening at this roughly the same time, the 14th and 15th. That's the sun in Scorpio, trining Neptune in your seventh house. All said and done, this is a really good relationship transit, especially if you can pull off a weekend getaway or a trip, or have more fun with your one you're with in your local environment. This is definitely good for that. And lastly, did I say Venus conjunct Mercury on 19th to the 23rd? I think I did, because he's the Lord of your sky. Started with that early on, just a lot of intensity in that third house, local neighborhoods, siblings, news, information, contracts. Movement could allow you to move somewhere new, because then she goes into the fourth house. So rents, leases, discussions about property, 19th to the 23rd. And you finish we all finish strong with that Mars trine Saturn at the end of the month. This is November. This is really the end of the month, November 26th onward. You'll start to feel it around the 23rd, 24th, kind of finishes strong. Mars in your career house, trining Saturn in your work house. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I think I'm repeating myself, but it just allows you to move into new solid career, job, and health gains in a very productive way that fortifies your sense that life is meaningful. You don't have to be in servitude, drudgery, and duty all the time, which every Virgo is often in. You guys work hard, you're dutiful, and you're, really grinding sometimes when it comes to being of service to the world. Saturn is saying, let's create solid health foundations, solid work foundations. And Mars is saying, yeah, and I'll do it from the reputation and career space. Some of you are changing your career direction because of this. By the time Mars leaves your 10th house next March and Saturn leaves your 6th house next March, big shifts for most Virgos in career or work. Okay, that's everything. You're new to my channel, I'm reminding you to like and subscribe. Check my description box for everything I have. Grab a healing with my sister Nancy Lynn. You won't regret it. At the very least, you'll feel super calm and really peaceful, even when she works at a distance. She's really good. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned for the stuff ahead this month. It's a very busy month, and I'll be doing videos on a lot of these transits in much greater depth, and always all signs.